what should be the first question I must ask myself before entering into a relationship or marriage?
You see, the first most important question you must ask yourself and answer to before you marry is, who am I? Who am I? You first need to know who you are. And the reason why you need to know who you are is because except you know who you are and what you want in life, everybody will be a destination. We like different things. Some of us like women with big behinds. Some like big boobs. Some like flat tummy. Some people, flat tummy is not a problem. Our needs are not the same. Our desires are not the same. Our expectations are also not the same. And so you need to know who you are. What are the things you can handle? What are the things you can't handle? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? The person that you're going to bring into your space, you must first know who you are and the kind of life you want to build, the kind of future you envisage you would want to build. Then you bring in somebody that you are sure or convinced can help you get there. Because if you don't do that, you would end up loving a wrong woman. You end up falling in love with that which you are not in love with. So you must answer to that question, who am I? What do I want? What is important to me? Where am I going? What are my fantasies? What are my desires? But most especially, what is important to me? Because my values may not be the exact value you have. You may want one thing, I may want another thing. But you must answer the question, who am I? And when you get that answer, it will inform the kind of woman you should have. Because some of us, we don't care marrying a short lady. Others, the kind of person they are, they need somebody that is more than that. There are some of us who, they want a certain kind of woman, but they don't have the money for it now. But when you answer that question, then you can ask the next question. But we'll keep that one for the next episode.
Christ before entering into a relationship.
Yes. The reason why you have to know your identity in Christ before you enter into a relationship is because in Christ Jesus, we have been regenerated. And so if you have some weaknesses, you have some, let me say it this way. If you have low self-esteem, you look down upon yourself, you have your own challenges. Because these things, consciously and unconsciously, informs who we choose. You know, one of the reasons why people cheat on relationships is because when they start getting money, they find out that there's more to their life than what they thought they had. That's why it's important to know who you are in Christ. What are the strengths that Christ brings into your life? What is it that Christ has said concerning you? And why is it important? It's important because sometimes we marry women who are more wealthy than us. Or we start life and we think we are better off, but the lady gets a job offer and her pay is now 2 or 3 or 4 times your salary. And then it starts affecting you mentally. You don't say it, but it affects your ego. It affects your confidence because now you feel that your identity is your work. And what if maybe you've even lost your job now? Now it begins to affect you. And so knowing who you are in Christ is key. It's key because then now your identity is not based on how much money you bring on the table. Your identity is not based on the work you do or how much your wife brings on the table, but that your identity is in Christ, is in who Christ says you are. So I may not have today, but the blessing of God is upon my life. And it is on that premise that my wife now is able to be blessed because the two is now one and she's able to bring more on the table.
Okay, so is it important to understand emotional, spiritual, and personal maturity before entering into a relationship or marriage?
Yes, it's important. It's critically important to understand the things that make you tick, the things that tickles you. Maturity is your ability to know when to keep quiet and when to talk. And before you marry, you need to first understand who you are. Your emotional maturity is your ability to control your emotions. That's why I'm saying that. It's so important because except you know yourself, you will not know who to marry. In Athens, in ancient Athens, there used to be a shrine on a mountain. And when you get there, they've written at the lintel of the shrine, man, know thyself. You must know yourself. The things you can handle. It's not every woman you can handle. It's not everybody you can manage. There are people financially, you are not on their level. They will drain you financially. It will bring tension in the marriage. It will break the marriage. So you must know who you are. You must know your financial state. You must know your spiritual state. There are some people, they have lots of spiritual battles. You understand me? They struggle with one thing after the other. And so you need to be sure that this is a battle I'm not willing to go into. The truth is, in most relationships, the telltale signs are there. What will befall you spiritually, materially, is there. As a pastor, people speak to me. There's not one person. I've heard it all my life. The women that when you take care of the house, then they get turned on. Yeah. People, when you give them money, it turns them on. It will surprise you. And there's not much, but just drop some money and your house will be good.
So with this, what would be the challenges if in case there are financial struggles that the man cannot, maybe in some point cannot give the woman money to turn her on? What would be the challenges?
So that's why a lot of us have problems in our relationships. Because number one, the lady did not even know until she got married. That's why you have to have conversations. See, dating is for conversation. Dating is not for sex. Dating is not the time where you show the guy all your skills that you are the riding queen. Dating is not the time. Dating is a time where you set a date, a time frame by which you would make a decision as to this being a relationship you want to be in or this is not what you want to be in. Dating is a time where you have conversations. How did you grow up? What were the things that shaped your perspective of life? Dating is when you ask those questions. Who are your family? Did you grow up with your dad and your mom? Did you grow up with your siblings? How was it like growing up? What are the things that were important to you? What are the things you desired, you wanted, but you did not get? Because most of the time, we marry people who we think they can help fulfill a desire that we did not have when we were growing up. So when you see a lady who is in love with elderly people, he's desiring a father figure in their life. They may give you an excuse, but that is actually what it is. So we all go for it. So when you were growing up, you see guys who like ladies with big behinds. It's because maybe when they were growing up, either they saw their parents had that or that they did not. And so they are now desiring for what they don't have. Well, there are people who want ladies with extremely big breasts. When you go and find out, it's either their mother had or they did not have. And so they want extreme big ones so that it fills the lack that they had when they were growing up.
Can you love right if you don't really know yourself?
You answer the question. You can never ever love right if you don't know yourself. I know what I like. I like certain things. I prefer certain things. I desire certain things. If I don't know who am I, the things that are important to me, if I don't know who I am, if I don't know what I like, if I don't know the things that I don't like, I can't love right. We have 5 love languages. If you don't know whether you love acts of service, or you love gifts, or you love words of affirmation, because those are the things that are important to you, then how do you handle it? I was counseling a lady, and she said this to me. She says that she's sexually turned on. She's married, but she's sexually turned on when the husband gives her money. It doesn't have to be big money, but once money is released. If you don't understand yourself, you would wonder why I'm struggling in this marriage. I don't feel happy. But once you know yourself, so I had to speak to her and tell her that you watch a TV and you were conditioned in one way, and that's why you think this is what turns you on. But everybody is different. And so you need to know what is important to you, and then you can love right. Okay, so then one would ask the question, do I have to know everything about myself before I marry? The answer is you would never know everything about yourself. But the foundations, the basics, who am I? What do I want? What is important to me? What do I value? What drives me? Where am I going as a person? Those ones you must answer. Those ones you must answer. Those questions are your questions. What do I want? What kind of woman do I like? Do I like tall, dark, short, fair, plus size woman, big boobs, small boobs? Because the truth is we don't like the same things. But basically there are things you must know about yourself before you bring somebody else into your space. Those things are important. So you will not know everything about yourself, but you must know what you like, what you want, where you're going. What are your values? What are the things that are important to you as an individual before you bring a person into your life? Because there are some things you can't handle. And so sometimes you get close to a person and you're like, no, I can't handle this kind of person. That's why you date a person. You are dating because you want to find out, in light of what I know about myself, will I be able to handle this kind of person and her drama or his drama? Those are key things that you need to know about yourself. And so knowing yourself is the most important question you must answer to. It's not answer. You must answer to that question. Who am I? What do I want? What is important to me? Where am I going? What kind of woman attracts me sexually? Because sometimes as Christians, we spiritualize everything. Marriage is not spirit. In heaven, we don't marry or are given for marriage. Marriage is on this earth. And on this earth, for men, we are moved by sight. For women, is by words, their emotions. You must know what is important to you. Women too like men that are attractive to them. So you must know what is important to you as an individual, and then you position yourself like that to find that kind of a person. You understand? But you must also, in knowing yourself, ask yourself, what are my compromises? Are there some things I can compromise on? Maybe you can compromise on the looks because you want an encourager. You want somebody who is driven. You know, sometimes ladies are looking for men who are driven, and yet they are looking for men who will make time for them. When you are dealing with a man, when you are dealing with a person who is driven, you cannot get quantity time with such a person. He cannot always be there for you. So you have to choose your poison. Either you allow him to go and work, and then you have quality time with him. It means that you have a shorter time, but you make sure that that shorter time counts. Or he would not be a driven person, would always be there for you, because you can't eat your cake and have it. For him to be driven, to be hardworking, means he would not be always with you. But for him to spend quality time with you, it means he has to sacrifice his work. So you must choose what is important to you. Which one is important to you? You want him to be always out there looking for the money? Well, that's why you need to know yourself. Some of us, we want the attention, we want the time. Or some of us, we want the money, we want the status. He has to have a car by a certain age, own a house in a plush neighborhood, own certain basic things that you may call basic, but it may be a luxury for somebody else. You should be able to afford to buy you tickets to go for holidays. For such a person to have that, you need a man who has money. And men who have money are men who are driven. And men who are driven are men who are hardworking. And men who are hardworking, or women who are hardworking, they would not be there for you. For instance, if a man wants a woman who is hardworking and driven and passionate, you need to understand she will not always be there to cook your food for you. She won't be there to cook for you. You would have to eat from house helps. Once in a while, your wife would cook for you. But you need to be able to know what is important to you before you bring her in. So you want a corporate woman who is hardworking and driven. Please understand that for a driven, hardworking woman, you as an individual would understand that you would have to hire a house help to cook for you, because that woman would not be in that position to always cook for you every day, or you should be eating frozen food. It means you cook on weekends, you warm the food, and you eat in the evening. There are men who marry hardworking, driven women and expect them to be like housewives. That is not feasible. That does not work. You're married to a driven woman who works in corporate Ghana. You cannot have her cook for you breakfast every day and dinner every evening, and you want fresh food. You will not get it. It doesn't work that way. So choose your poison. Choose what is important to you. If you want that kind of woman, get a woman who sells at a shop. It's easy. When she closes from work, she can come. Or you open a business for her and she does it. So that's why it's important for you to know yourself. Know what you like. Know what you can handle and what you can handle. When I was growing up, I spoke to my elder sister to find me a wife. She works in corporate Ghana in the bank. She told me that, I know you can handle a bank lady. It says these ladies earn a lot of money, but the things that you require of her, she cannot provide for you. And so find a woman within your class and within your level to manage you. And that was the best advice my sister gave. At the time, I was not happy, because we are all told you need a corporate Ghana lady. She knows how to dress. She dresses in a certain way. She drives a car. But my ego would not allow me to handle that kind of woman. So know yourself. Know your ego. Know your weaknesses. And then you choose who you can marry. But you can't go and take a corporate-driven woman and come and make her subservient. Push her, force her. Now that I put a ring on your hand, you must answer to me. That's witchcraft.